Hi, I'm Jamey from Stillmeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game, Pass the Pigs. This is a classic dice rolling game that I've never played. I've heard of it, but I've never played it before until game night recently when a friend brought it, and I really had a lot of fun playing it. I love push your luck games, and this game has a nice push your luck aspect to it. And the main thing I want to highlight about the game, along with a few other little mechanisms, is and I'll describe the core idea of the game is that you are rolling two dice. I'll show you those dice in a second. You're rolling two dice, and you are potentially based on what you rolled. You're getting some points, and you can decide to continue to roll until you bust or until you choose to stop. If you bust, you get none of the points that you would have earned that turn, but you don't lose any points from the rest of the game. With one small exception that I'll mention in a second. But for the most part, you're probably going to take a few rolls, you'll get some points, and you'll say, okay, I'm going to stop here before I bust. And then you'll get some points, and the next player takes their turn. I have a few mechanisms to go into there, but the main thing I want to highlight here is that these aren't normal dice. And this is a great reminder to me as a designer that dice don't need to be standard. The dice look like this. They are pigs. They aren't dice at all. They aren't D6 dice. They are D12 dice. They are pigs that you are rolling on the table. And the position of those pigs determines how many points that you get. One side of the pig has a little dot on it, and that actually does matter. But you can roll. So this is, I think this is called like maybe a snouter. This is worth a ton of points if you can pull this off, where both the snout and just the ear are touching the ground. If the pig is face up like this, I believe this was 5 points. They all have different names for these different positions. And you get points based on how the pigs end up on the table. I think this is so clever. The dice are not regular dice. They're irregular dice that roll a little awkwardly on the table, but you get to see them bounce around on the table, these rubbery little pigs, and they're not evenly distributed. I think that's a huge part of it. When you roll a D6 die, it's supposed to be evenly distributed, so you have an equal chance of rolling a 1 through 6. With these dice, that is not the case. And because of that, you score a lot more points for a random position like this than maybe an easier to roll position like this, or if the pig lands on its side. Now, here are all the different positions you can end up with. The additional twist to this is that if both pigs end up in the exact same position, let's see if we can find it. There's one. They end up in the exact same position, you gain double the points that you would have gained. So normally, I believe this roll would be 1 point per pig, or maybe it's just 1 point total, but you double that number of points and gain that. So for like a one like this, actually that's a bust right here. This is a bust when you have both pigs on their side, one with a dot, one without a dot. If I had, so this is worth 5 points when the pig is just standing up, if I'm remembering correctly. If I had two of these, each of them would be worth 5 points doubled. So I would get 20 total points. So that feels really good. I think that's another good reminder for me in games. When you're rolling dice, if players roll doubles, that feels good. It feels special. Even though they had no control over that, it still feels special. And you want to make that moment feel special by giving them extra points or an additional bonus for having them do that. Pass the Pig does have one other little twist, I think worth mentioning, in that if the two pigs that you roll ever end up touching each other, then I don't know, we'll have a visual example of this, but if they ever end up touching each other like this, not only do you bust, but you lose all points that you've accumulated for the entire game. It's not a feel-good moment in the game, but it is a laugh-out-loud moment when it happens, and which works for a very light game like this. And it means that at any given time, you have a chance to win the game, both because you can push your luck and roll and roll and roll and roll and not bust on your turn, and because at any given time, the leader of the game might accidentally roll the pigs too close to each other, or they bounce around and they end up touching each other, and they will lose all of their points. It's rare, I think, that you have a feel-bad moment in the game that brings so much general joy to the table, including even to the player who rolled those two pigs, as when happens in Pass the Pigs when this happened. And it did happen once in our game, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me see if I'm missing anything else about Pass the Pig. Yeah. So just a few good reminders about the game, about game design for me, that dice don't have to be a regular shape or evenly distributed, and that rolling doubles should always feel good mechanically and aesthetically. That's what happens in Pass the Pig. Let me know your thoughts. If you played Pass the Pig, if you have a house rule variant that you've played with, I think people have been probably playing this game for years, and I'm new to it. Let me know about your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks. Oh, also let me know if you play any other games with irregular dice, irregularly shaped dice or distributed dice. Let me know about that in the comments below. I'd love to hear about that too. Thanks.